Okay, I'll start by Heat Ray. Destroy all opponents' cards in the same column as me.
Oh my gosh.
And then advance game.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh my
GG's.
goodness.
What's going on, guys? Your boy Oosh back again once again with another Godzilla banger. This time, as far as the trading card game goes, of course, we're going to be going over my official deck profile for what this title of the video is called, the tournament winning red deck. Okay, so this is a deck that is a mixture of the starter deck from -1 in addition to cards that are straight out of the booster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically just go over the entire profile, how many copies of each card that I have in this, and just know that this isn't permanent. This is actually something that I am going to update and change as the time goes on. So the deck looks like how it does based on my recent win at a local that I just had, first time ever, first gameplay on the channel for Godzilla trading card game. So if you missed out on that, definitely give that a watch at your earliest convenience. Make sure you are liking and sharing and leaving a comment on the video. And if you want to interact with more Godzilla players, I have actually been getting some more folks to join my free to join Discord. So link in the description so that you can join and start interacting and playing with other players and I guess strategizing, because, you know, even though the game is still early or new, I should say, there's a lot of strategy and a lot of other strategies that could be implemented. And that is, I think, one of the most fun aspects of card games. So when it comes to Godzilla trading card game and my official winning tournament deck profile, let's get into it. All right, so to start things off, these are the, I guess you could call them the leaders of the game that I run. It's just the Godzilla 2023 monsters that you can get right out of the starter deck. So it's just obviously one copy of each. These are going to be going onto the side of your monster deck. That's exclusively not a part of your main 50 card deck for those that are maybe just getting into the game. Give me a second as I realize, because like to keep this video as authentic as possible, I didn't want to start breaking this apart before I started recording. So I do want to then organize this. So here's a little quick fast forward effect. Boom. All right, so a couple things that I do want to explain before I go into everything. Obviously, this isn't the entire deck, but what I'm going to do for organizational purposes and to keep this video as clean as I possibly can for you guys and as comprehensive, I wanted to break down by the types of cards in this deck. And I guess to give you more of an idea of where my mind was at going into strategizing how I wanted to play red. So naturally, I find myself to be a very defensive player when it comes to just about anything. Fighting games, card games, you name it. If there's some sort of like way to play somewhat defensive, I find myself trying that first. But at the same time, you're probably listening to me say this and being like, bro, you're playing red. This is one of probably the most aggressive things about this game so far. I mean, obviously there's only red and blue, but I digress. Here we have the monster cards, and as you can tell, this is a lot of monster cards. And the reason being, and before I actually tell you why, I do want to give you guys the numbers. So out of the 50 card deck, of course, this does not count the rage cards. This does not count the monster cards that I had already shown you guys right here. Okay, is that this is a 50 card deck that comprises of 23 monsters. Okay, 23 monster cards, 14 strategy cards, and 13 battle cards. Again, before you click off or you think, bro, what are you doing? Just hear me out, because I mean, you know, I can say I have won with this deck in a tournament setting, so we'll see how long that lasts. But nonetheless, let's just go through everything really quick, as swiftly as I possibly can. Okay, again, the reason being why I have literally the most monster cards in my deck over the other two types of cards in this game is primarily due to the functionality of how this game is played. So for those that have been watching my videos and just following along with the game, maybe you've been playing at your own locals or what have you, you'll know that you need monster cards to essentially move along with the game, to advance, to invade, no pun intended. I mean, I guess you Can't say it was intended. You need monster cards to not only just evolve like on that turn, or I shouldn't say evolve, but when you have your leader, right? So let's say you're like rank 1 is on the board, it's in play. You have the ability to essentially stack, right? And I don't even remember if stack is the right phrase. That's what I've been saying. But you have the ability to stack the same rank, okay, as this. So like right now, like, you know, for the example, if I have a rank 1, which is the first one that will start the game off, you are then able to stack another 1 right on top of it, okay? Now, funny enough, red, it has this special ability called burst, and I noticed there are no burst cards over on the blue side of things. Blue's specialty is about evolution, so that's why you see those Mothras, they, you know, as elegant as they are, they're able to evolve themselves, okay? The red side, our version of evolving is essentially bursting. And the cool thing about bursting is that, say, again, same example, I have my rank 1. Any card that has burst literally will say on the card, so we'll take this one, for example, okay? Godzilla 2023 Burst 1. It says you can play this card from rank 1. If you do, send this card to your discard pile at the beginning of your next end phase, okay? Why do we do this? It's so that way we can take advantage of their effects, which, for this example, enter. Your opponent discards cards until they have 4 cards remaining in their hand. Now, fast forward, you might be thinking, damn, that's kind of aggressive, right? And it is. And obviously, in any type of game, especially for a card game, you want to have your resources, aka your hand. And if you don't have those, then you're kind of SOL, right? So that's the mindset that I went in and into making this deck. And like, if you look even further, like into some of the higher ranked Godzillas in this game, I think it's right here. So the rank 4, this guy says, when invading, if this card has 2 or more rage, your opponent discards cards until they have 2 cards remaining in their hand. Not only is this aggressive, but this is crippling. Like, literally, you're taking away potential moves that your opponent is trying to come up with on the fly to essentially counteract your aggressive behavior. I mean, like, whether you try to play defensive or not, like, the effects are literally right there for you. So again, aside from just taking advantage of the burst ability that a lot of these monster cards do have, I also want to take advantage of being able to have access to gaining a free rage. So for those that don't know, similar to the example that we've been using with stacking, if I stack, okay, that means that I'm going to be able to gain a free rage. And shout outs to Tiso because he does not want me using this gold card anymore. Sorry, Tiso. So when you gain a free rage, that is literally really good. That's really important because rage, for those that are still learning this game, is how you're able to counter your opponent's essential like counter power. They're trying to overcome your threat level. And so you need the rage, all right? But you have to be careful because sometimes if you stack a rank 1 to another rank 1 that's weaker, because notice in the Godzilla 2023, he's got 6,000 threat level right down here, okay? If I stack up to this Fest Godzilla, I'm kind of depowering myself, but at the same time, it's like you kind of want to, I guess, see what the play is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, not every size fits all, but right here it says when this card advances into the same column as your opponent's monster card, advance your opponent's monster by 1 zone. So this card, to me, I personally didn't even get a chance to use it like this. I pretty much used this as rage power, essentially, which, again, if you want to add rage to your monster, you have to ditch monster cards. You cannot ditch strategy cards. You cannot ditch battle cards. You have to specifically ditch monster cards. And that's also, again, what I was getting to, another main reason why I have 23 cards. Almost half of my deck is essentially monster cards, because I want to always have an opportunity to give myself rage, potentially burst, and just to have that type of versatility and options at my disposal. And funny enough, red really does a good job with being resourceful with each other. Like, the synergy is really all there. So I guess hopefully that's enough explaining. I don't want to, like, you know, fry you guys' brains or anything like that. So hopefully you do get something out of the explanations that I am giving you guys. But so let's just go down the list. So we have 1 copy of the Godzilla Fest Godzilla rank 1. We have 1 copy of the rank 1 Godzilla 1954. Okay, we have 2 copies of the Godzilla 1954 that does have burst. Okay, we have 2 copies of 2 more, we have 2 copies of 2 ranked Godzilla 2023, also with burst. Okay, we have 2 copies of Godzilla 2023 that are 2 ranks. Okay, we now are finally getting into the 3rd ranks with Godzilla 2023. Okay, doesn't have burst, but again, it's, you know, pretty, it has great threat level at 23k. If this card has 2 or more rage, this card gains 5,000, so it gets a bonus if you have rage on this. So it gives your opponent, whether they're playing red or they're playing blue, doesn't matter, it's giving them a hard time trying to overcome that high threat level. So again, I'm not going to go over all the effects. I'm going to be reading off these cards and like leaving them on the screen so that you guys can actually just go check out the effects for yourself. If I was to go over all the effects of every single card, this video would be ridiculously long. Everyone got, you know, their life, you know what I'm saying? Okay, we have 1 copy of Godzilla 2023. That's a rank 3 as well. We have 4 copies of this rank 3 Godzilla 2023. Now we're finally getting into the rank 4s. Okay, I know I just said I'm not going to read all of them, but there are certain cards that I do want to read because if I remember how clutch they were, I'm gonna tell you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna save this one the best for last. Okay, because this actually low-key put me in a position to win the tournament essentially. Okay, so here we go. Rank 4 Godzilla Fest. Okay, now we have 2 copies of Godzilla 2023. Okay, we have Godzilla Best Godzilla rank 4. That's 1 copy, and then we have 2 copies of Godzilla 1975. Shouts to my camera actually doing good zooms. Anyway, and last but not least, I saved the best for last right here. We have Godzilla 1954, the OG of the OGs, the king of the monsters. He's got burst, 34,000 threat level. Burst 3, that means that you can stack this if you have a rank 3 monster on the board. Okay, it says when this card reaches zone 8, destroy all battle cards in each player's zones. I want to also emphasize the wording on this. When this card reaches zone 8, that does not specify that it needs to be an invasion or if it needs to be an advancement, which are 2 separate things. Advancing in a zone is essentially when you end your turn and you get that free hop, skip, and a dance or whatever. That is advancing, which does not trigger any invading effects, right? Which is something that we actually learned from the tournament match. We had some people commenting, so thank you for the feedback, because Tiso and I literally had no idea, because again, everyone's still learning this game. So from now on, we do know that. So I mention this and I bring this up because this card, all you need to do, you don't even need to waste your discard. You don't need to waste any sort of movement. You don't need to waste any resources if you don't want to. You can, and then when it does, if you're on, let's say you're on zone 7 or if you're on zone 6, and if you ditch that 2-step and you'll get to zone 8, then that triggers. If you end your turn on zone 7 and you get that advancement, this triggers. I mean, just going off of it, when this card reaches zone 8, destroy all battle cards in each player's zone. So it essentially sets you up to almost make your opponent very afraid, because literally all they'll be able to do is try to play a battle card next turn to stall you if they have one in their hand. Keep that in mind. And if they don't, you pretty much win next turn, right? You pretty much win next turn. These are all the monster cards. Again, feel free to leave any comments, questions, or join the Discord like I mentioned. And let's get into some of the other cards. We'll go over the strategy cards next. Boom. Okay, so here we go. Here are the strategy cards that I used in our first tournament winning deck for the red. Now, you'll already notice I do have a few white cards in here. This is important. I want to also emphasize that this game, being that right now there are only 2 available colors to represent. You're either playing on red, you're playing on blue. You cannot mix the 2 bars. You can also add white cards. They're a neutral color. They're a neutral card in this game. So red can run red and white. Blue can run blue and white as well. So I have 2 copies of Heat Ray. Heat Ray is a very clutch card, okay? Destroy all of your opponent's battle cards in the same column as your monster card. I cannot stress how important this card is. At a 1 cost, this is a staple. If I had more copies of this, I would actually be running 4. But because I don't, Right now, I only have 2. Again, this is still very early on, so like I'm sure by next week, I might have a new update for this deck that I'm rocking right here. We also have 2 copies of Destroy All Monsters. This one says when your monster card invades this turn, destroy one of your opponent's battle cards. So again, another really good tool to have at your disposal. Again, strategy cards you can play only 2 a turn. They only have 2 zones for it, so it's not like you can play one and then stack another one after that. Like, there's no cheese with that. It's just straight up, you got 2. And the reason why I run as many is so that way I have options depending on the flow of the match, okay? So let's see. So we have 1 copy of Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Now, I actually, before I went to the tournament, I had I think at least 2 or 3 of these, and I decided to drop it down to 1 to add more emphasis and prioritize having more monster cards like I had mentioned earlier in the video. Again, I'm not going to read all of them, but I'm only going to read the ones that I really feel like are super important that came in clutch situations during the tournament match. Again, go check it out if you haven't already. Godzilla attacks. This is actually one of my 2 steps right here. So advance your monster card to zone 6. Huh? Guys, if you didn't think that you could speed run in this game, let me tell you, there's ways to do it. Obviously, with a little bit of luck, and within that luck, your opponent having like not a great hand, you could really threaten to invade early, okay? A lot of times you'll find in this game that if you have a 2-step in your hands from the start, you could literally end your turn and end up at zone 4, which is you're already halfway there within the first move, the first turn of the match, okay? Notice this is a 4 cost. What did I just say? If you have another 2-step that you use to discard to invade 2 steps, you can play this on your next turn, bro. It's a done deal. You will have your opponent pissing themselves. They won't be like, what do I do? Oh my God, they're already on zone. But again, that comes at a caveat because you're at zone 6 now. They're able to play higher cost cards at level 6 or below. But again, keep that in mind. We have 2 copies of Ginza Annihilated. I was using this one a lot, I feel like. This one says, on your turn, whenever your monster card's rage is increased, destroy one of your opponent's rank 6 or lower battle cards. Again, a 4 cost. This is a very clutch card just because of what I said. This is a deck that utilizes and relies heavily on building that rage. So when you have that on the board and you're naturally building up your rage every turn, you get basically rewarded in doing so. So that's very good to have. I'd even consider running more of those, but again, I wanted the versatility, so that's why I only have 2. Now, we have the 5-cost Space Subimu. If your monster card has 2 or more rage, your opponent discards cards until they have 2 cards remaining in their hand. Again, I cannot emphasize this enough. This goes hand in hand with Ginza Annihilated. Imagine your turn, you say, boom, son, response. Obviously, there's no response because it's not Yu-Gi-Oh! We're playing a 2-player game here. Only helps when you're building rage and you are also crippling your opponent by taking cards away from their hand. You're taking away resources, you're taking away moves. Can't stress that enough. 6 cost, Heat Ray Charge. Now remember, 6 cost. So remember how I said Godzilla attacks? You play this at when you're at zone 4. And then let's say next turn you're at zone 6 because of that one, and Heat Ray Charge, you have to play this at when you're at zone 6. Draw 2 cards. Say hello to Pot of Greed, guys. Draw 2 cards. Heat Ray Charge, bro. Red is OD. I played this one. I remember playing a lot. And then last but not least, we have Godzilla Emerges. I don't remember actually playing a lot of this, but I like the function of it. It says that if your monster card has 2 or more rage, search your deck for up to 1 battle card named Godzilla 2023. Play it and then shuffle. I actually do remember playing this. Good utility for search and play. It's not just a search and add to hand. Search and play. Let me repeat that. Search and play. You literally get to pick a Godzilla 2023. It doesn't even specify if it needs to have burst in it. It just needs to have Godzilla 2023. And I'm not gonna whip out the cards now, but look, we run a lot of Godzilla 2023 in this deck. You need to have Godzilla Emerges. It's like, come on, like, especially if you're speed running, you got the Godzilla attacks, you got the Heat Ray Charge. Like, bro, imagine turn 1, you get to zone 4, you're playing Godzilla attacks on your next turn because it's a 4 cost. Boom, you're already at zone 6. Then you play Heat Ray Charge. You're drawing 2 cards. You're scaring your opponent. They're literally shitting themselves right now. And then you end your turn. Next turn, you have Godzilla Emerges. You don't even need to wait next turn. Playing Heat Ray Bro, nah, stop. I'm getting too excited. You see how crazy this deck can be, right? So this is all the strategy cards. Now let's finally get into the battle cards. Boom. Okay, so here we have the battle cards of this tournament winning deck. And you'll notice it seems very slim, but that's, you know, that's by design. Obviously, like I mentioned already several times in this video, heavy emphasis on the monster cards, okay? We have one copy of Gorosaurus, the only white battle card that I have in this deck at the moment. This has a nice Awakening 4 ability, which means that once you get to zone 4 with your monster, your Godzilla, whatever, this effect triggers. It does say this card gains plus 3,000 counter power for a 2 cost. You could play this early on. It is a 2-step as well, so keep that in mind. And then it'll be like a free 4,000 for counter power, right? So I figured, why not try this out? It's another way to have something to potentially use, and also if I don't need to use it, I do have a 2-step as well. We do have one copy of Anguirus. So this one I have because this actually helps me search for cards that have burst. If I had more copies of this, there's a high chance that I would probably run more of Anguirus, okay? I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name, by the way, as well. Let's see. So if this card is in zone 8, whenever your monster card invades, you may reduce its rage by 1, and to search your deck for up to 1 monster card with burst, reveal it and add it to your hand and shuffle your deck. At the cost of rage, you can search. It's decent. This was a lot of trial by fire, so I wanted to see how it felt in this deck. We have 2 copies of Reinforcements. Again, this is similar to the Gorosaurus. It does have an Awakening 4 to add more counter power. Right now, it has 2k counter power. If your monster is at zone 4 or higher, it does gain an additional 3, making it a 5. And this is a 4 cost, so again, this can be played pretty early on, especially if you're able to invade to zone 4 pretty early on. We have 2 copies of the 5 cost Mecha Godzilla. If your monster card has 2 or more rage, this gains plus 3k counter power, and it already has 4k on that John. So that means 7. Need that counter power to help freaking push that shit back, okay? So Mecha Godzilla here to stay. We got 3 copies of Godzilla 2023. So if you remember when we were talking about that one strategy card, I'm pretty sure it was like Godzilla Emerges or whatever. I forget already. Godzilla 2023. We're searching for this, okay? And if we're not searching for the monster versions, we're searching for the battle card. I'm pretty sure if that's how it works. If I even, hold on, let me read my cards. Oh yeah, it's battle card. Okay, so search for a battle card. So you're clear. You're not even searching for monster. You're searching for this right here. That's the point of having this. So this one I utilized a lot. So on its enter, again, if you have 2 or more rage, you reduce your opponent's rage by 1. So this deck is so versatile with how many different ways it can screw with them. This deck has the power to discard their hand, to take rage away. It's just like, what more can you ask for? Actually, I can ask for King Kong. We have 1 copy of Manila. Look at cute little Manila, man. 1 copy, 6 cost. Why is it a 6 cost? Well, because enter, reduce your opponent's rage by 1. Again, you want to have as many opportunities to do something to your opponent, to make it harder for them to win. Obviously, like, you know, in most games, I would imagine. Here we have 2 copies of Godzilla 2023. So again, we can search for this one if we didn't want to get for this one. This one is pretty unique. I was able to utilize this, I think, 1 time. So on your turn, it says when you play a monster card, you may move this card to an unoccupied zone. So this also, keep in mind, it says when you play, and Tiso actually pointed this out to me, so shout out to Tiso. When you're basically playing a new monster, whether you're stacking or whether it's by you getting repelled, you can move this. Okay, if we're gonna judge off of the wording here, that means that you could definitely move it if you so choose to. And if this card is in zone 8, this gains plus 3k counter power. When it's destroyed, place this card on the bottom of your deck instead. So again, you get to like literally recycle it if for whatever reason it does get destroyed or is trampled on or whatever, which is really good. So probably having more copies of this might be overkill, and that's why I only decided to run 2. This actually, I specifically remember coming out of the starter deck, and it gives you 4 copies. So I ran it down to 2 just to see how it felt, and it didn't feel too bad. I mean, you know, I did win after all. And last but not least, we do have 1 copy of an 8-cost Hedera. Hedera is actually kind of crazy. It's a 2-step, it has 7,000 counter power, and here's what it does. When playing this card from your hand, you can reduce its rank by 1 for each battle card in your zones. After being played, this card is still treated as rank 8. Even though you would probably think that you would need to still play this, or you could only play this if they have a card at zone 8, so long as you have enough battle cards on the field. Let's say you have 4 battle cards on the field. That means that you have 4. So if their kaiju or their monster is at zone 4 or higher, if my understanding is correct, you can play this without them having to be at zone 8. Kind of crazy. And that's why I figured I'd try to give it a run to see how it felt. And that is all the cards for this official first tournament winning deck profile for Godzilla trading card game. Wow, I need some water. Whew, that was a doozy. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. And like I said, this game is a lot of fun. I will have some upcoming unboxing videos to do for you guys. I'm going to be opening a box, and I'm actually going to have Papa Uch. I guess we could start calling him Papa Zilla, maybe? He's going to open 2 boxes. He has 2 boxes that he had me grab for him. So we're going to have a lot of cards to open up. Who knows if we'll get that triple SP. It'll be really fun if we do, because I'm sure we're going to be reacting like crazy. And I already know, with everything that I showed off with my tournament deck right here, that there is going to be some adjustments that I definitely want to make. I don't know exactly what just yet, but there's a specific combo that I really want to try and see if I can get it off in a match, whether it's in tournament or not, but it involves King Ghidorah. More on that in a future video. And if you liked what you saw here with this mat, this cloth mat that I was using, you can definitely check out my link in the description to Dueling Guard. This is actually a 2-player mat, but I didn't need all of it for this video with the space that I have right now. They're an affiliate of the channel, so if you do like this, and they have plenty more awesome products when it comes to trading card game accessories like mats, like bags, like sleeves, like deck boxes, definitely check them out. If you see anything you like, use my code UchiGang, and it does support the channel as well. So there you have it. That is my complete deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that you guys get more interested in trying to play this game if you haven't already. And definitely check the link out in the description that has the shop locator so that you can locate your nearest store that supplies and supports Godzilla. And honestly, guys, even if you only have like 2 people, that is more than enough to start getting people interested. It just takes 2 to tango, and I feel like this game deserves any sort of attention and hype towards it. It's really fun. It's very unique. There's no other games like it. It's literally the perfect blend between a board game and a card game jumbled into one. I mean, who doesn't love Godzilla? Godzilla is literally everywhere, celebrating the 70th anniversary. Can't get any better than this. And there is a new set coming up in October for Shin Godzilla. So for those that are fans of Godzilla, that are aware of Shin Godzilla, I know that Shin Godzilla is getting like a re-release in 4K pretty soon, at the time of this video at least. Lots to look forward to Godzilla. Lots of content to look forward to. Aside from what I've got going on this weekend, I'll be taking all my camera equipment with me for a lot of content that I'll be filming out at EVO. But at EVO, I'm going to be playing this game and teaching some friends, okay? So look forward to that as well. Again, shout outs to the Discord for all the new folks that have been joining in for this game. There's a lot of other channels in there as well, but if you're here for Godzilla, then thank you anyways. There is a dedicated Godzilla channel, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Free to join, link in the description below. Make sure you guys are taking care of yourselves. Like, share, subscribe. Love what you love. Gang, gang.